Hi everybody, how are you? What's everybody up to? Hope everyone is well. So I wanted to talk today about what changed for me. So a lot of people will say to me, because I've been trying like 5 years before we had Remy, what changed? What happened? What did you do? What did you use? All of those things. So I'll talk about that quite a lot, and if you already follow me on Facebook and Instagram, you will probably know what I'm going to say. I'm going to go more in depth on YouTube because it's just easier to do it that way. So what changed for me, and believe me, I'd tried like a lot of things. I'd tried all the diets I found, I'd tried different tablets that I'd seen advertised, I'd tried you know, all the sitting with your legs up in the air, you know, all of those things, and there's nothing wrong with those, but I started to realise that I wasn't being specific enough. I wasn't like really homing in on me and my journey, my cycles, my diagnosis. So what I started to do, because what I found was I used to say, I would say on average probably between 2 and 3 hours a day I would be looking on Google, on different forums, on fertility websites. I'd be looking up different like supplements, looking up different ovulation kits, looking at different pregnancy tests, looking at pregnancy symptoms within the 2-week wait. So I would be looking at all of these things, and I would say would be 2 to 3 hours per day. So base it on 2 hours, you know, say 2 hours when I got home from work or something like that. That's 14 hours a week over 7 days. And on the weekends, probably it might be more, that there could be, you know, more hours. So let's say about 15 hours a week I was spending looking at quite generic stuff about fertility and trying to conceive. And what I started to think was that I needed to be more specific. I needed to look at me and myself. So the biggest hint and tip that I ever give anybody is getting to know yourself. So I don't mean that in like a woo-woo spiritual weird way. If you, I'm into all of that, but if you're not, I don't mean it like that. I mean write down and track as much information as you can about yourself. So I realised that I was doing like ovulation tests, but I was doing them around the time that I was meant to be ovulating. You know, that somewhere on Facebook or on, well, Facebook wasn't really around then, but on the internet, someone had told me that's randomly when you ovulate. Well, that wasn't me and my ovulation. I was going and buying supplements that I didn't really know whether they were designed for me and what my problems were. So I started to get really specific, and what I did was write down all of the things I knew in concrete about myself. So I knew that I did ovulate, but my ovulation levels were quite low. So that was one of the things I wanted to really home in on. I knew that I had endometriosis, and by that point I'd had endometriosis and been diagnosed around 7 years. I knew that there was something else wrong, but I hadn't got my fibromyalgia diagnosis then. I knew that my weight was very up and down. I had like a bit of a yo-yo relationship with my weight. People kept on telling me that it was likely that I had like a gluten intolerance, specifically wheat, I kept being told. So I started to look at that. I knew that my cycles, because really all I did was track my periods and my menstrual cycle, so I knew that my periods were completely out of whack. Always had been, even from the day I ever started. So I knew that that was one of the things that just wasn't going to help my case. So before I knew it, I'd got like this big page of stuff about me, about Charlotte, and that's when I realised that actually that's what I need to be more specific on. 2 seconds. Sorry. My my computer's just come up to say that my battery was low, and I was like, but it's because I haven't switched the plug on for my charger. You will get to know I can be a bit ditzy, sorry. So before I knew it, I had this piece of paper that was about me, about Charlotte, not about anyone else's fertility journey or getting pregnant or not getting pregnant. So I was really specific, and that's what I started to spend my time on. So I started to look at what I could do to help my ovulation, what I could take, what diet I could do. And it wasn't just finding a diet and thinking, okay, well, I'll do that. It was, okay, well, what's that going to do? What is that food going to do to help me ovulate? What's it going to do to help my fertility levels? What's that food? Why shouldn't I eat that food? What's in that that's going to affect me, and how is it going to affect me? So I started to stop. I always say I started to stop scanning. You know, if you just scan a room and you don't really take anything in. That's what I felt like I was doing. And I started to really home in on one thing at a time and really understand. So I bought books, I subscribed to things, I actually spent my 2 or 3 hours a night or on a weekend being what I always call constructive. You know, I had a purpose, I knew what I was looking for rather than just Googling random things. So I started to do that. Then I started to look at my endometriosis and the link between ovulation, the link between my bad periods, and really understood it, because what had happened was I was 19 years old and by some fluke happened to see a doctor that wasn't mine, thank God, who said, actually, I think this is what you've got, and I can't believe it's been missed for all of this time. So I'd been told I'd got endometriosis, and it was by that point quite bad. I'd been told that it would more than likely affect my fertility, but that was it. I think I might have been given a little leaflet on what endometriosis was. I don't even know if I was, or whether I'm just making that up in my head. But there was no information, there was no support. I didn't understand what that meant for my ovulation, what that meant for my fertility, what that meant for my body, what that meant for my cycles, and how all of those things affected each other. And before I knew it, this piece of one paper had become like a book about me. So that is the biggest thing I can recommend. Then I moved on to endometriosis. I moved on to what that does, how that affected my weight, how I was always... What didn't help was I used to wake up and my stomach would be so bloated that people thought I was pregnant. And then by the end of the day, it would have been gone again. So people used to then start asking me if I was pregnant. Because my stomach was so bloated, and then when I would speak to the doctors about it, they would very often tell me, no, it's gluten, you need to cut gluten out of your diet. So then I started researching that, and if that had a relationship or an impact on my ovulation, if that was linked with my endometriosis, if that was linked to what I didn't know then was my fibromyalgia diagnosis. So all of these things then, I went from having this little snippet of information about myself to a wealth of information about the things that impacted and affected me. And that is the number one thing that I tell people, get to know you, get to know your diagnosis. So if you are diagnosed with endometriosis, with polycystic ovaries, you've only got one fallopian tube for whatever reason, if you have male infertility, what is it that's the problem there? Is it that you are producing eggs, but the eggs that you are producing aren't of great quality? When you start to really home in and be really specific, then you can help yourself more than you will ever know. And that is day one, when someone comes to me in the consultation, I say, right, what do you know about yourself? And I mean everything. And there's nothing wrong, and I'm not calling anybody out on it, because a lot of people don't know. And I didn't know all of the things I needed to know at all. And there's nothing wrong with that, because if nobody's told you what you need to go away and learn, how are you ever going to know? So I bought books, I listened to podcasts, I joined communities, I really swatted up on my own knowledge, and track everything. Try and buy a planner or a biggish diary, and you can track what you eat, track what time you wake up, track what time you go to sleep. It sounds really silly, and a lot of people don't realise this, and I'm running an event at the moment about diet and ovulation, and it's not just diet and food, it's the other things that can impact us, and a lot of people don't realise how much sleep affects our fertility and our ovulation. So we need to try and get into the habit of waking up and going to sleep around the same time. So track what time you got up, track what time you went to sleep the previous evening, track what you ate, track how much water you drank, track what supplements or vitamins or goodness you had, track your ovulation kit, what did you use, what brand it was, what was your result, track your temperature. I always recommend people taking the temperature every day. So track all of this stuff, and what you will start to do is build your own story about yourself. So when you know and you are in the best possible situation, and nobody else will do this, your doctor, your gynecologist, your fertility specialist, your hypnotherapist, your fertility coach, if you come to me for fertility coaching, anyone who's trying to help you, if you go and have acupuncture, if you have fertility massage, anything, no one else will know as much as you. And that is the position that you need to get yourself into. Get yourself into the position where if anyone asks you a question about yourself, your fertility, your cycles, your ovulation, your diet, anything, you can go, yeah, hold on, and get a book out. That is the number one piece of advice that I can give to people. Get to know you. Now, if it's something that you don't know what to track, how to track it, what else is affecting you, I am running an event over on Facebook in a private and safe enclosed group, which is a 5-day event which I load content for 5 days. I will pop the link in the comments. It's £20, so 20 English pounds. It's available worldwide, anybody can join. And what's in there is each day there is content loaded for a week, and there are PDFs for you to download. They can be emailed to you. There's a thread for you to ask questions and answers. We talk about diet really in depth. We talk about sleep, we talk about exercise, we talk about ovulation, and I'll do another video on this, but a lot of people don't realise actually what happens on ovulation. You know, they know that the sperm meets the egg and that's it. And again, that's no one's fault, and it's not calling anyone out on it. It's because that's what education gives us. That's what our school education gives us, unless, again, we go away and start to look into things ourselves and teach ourselves. So if the event is something that you are interested in, then please just pop me a comment or find me on Instagram on Fertility Coach UK, on Facebook I'm the Fertility Coach, and please subscribe to the channel. There will be a video every day. You will start to get to know me. I'm really passionate when I talk, hopefully that comes across. I will tell you snippets of my information as we're going along. You will probably see me in... Yesterday I had a full face of makeup and glasses. Today I'm going for the au naturel look. I'm very real, I'm very to the point, and I think that ovulation is something that we need to stop being told that we can't talk about. That sex is something that we need to stop being told that we can't talk about. We need to stop being told that we can't talk about fertility and infertility. We need to stop feeling like we can't talk about it because we're going to upset somebody, or somebody doesn't know how I feel and I'm going to make them feel bad. No, it's about you. And I really want to raise the awareness of that. Like, we shouldn't be told that we can't talk about this. It's an absolutely massive thing that affects millions of people worldwide, unfortunately. So please don't ever feel that you can't talk about it. Please don't ever feel that you are on your own, because you're not. And please seek some support and advice if you need to. Hopefully that's what I'll be able to help you and, you know, support you with. So please subscribe to the channel. There'll be videos each day on various different things. They won't always be serious, so there'll be things where I'm letting you into my life, into my home, into what I eat, into what I do, into the good, the bad and the ugly, basically. So if you want more information on me, on the event, have any questions, then please just pop a comment below. Thank you.